Hey all, we're gonna do this video a little differently today. I'm gonna be masked up since we're currently protesting the anti-mask law that's been established here in Hong Kong. It's being challenged right now, and there's a good chance the law will be revoked. But for now, it's currently illegal to wear a mask at a protest, whether a legal one or an illegal one. And Hong Kong has copied the UK's law on this to the T, pretty much. That might change in the next couple of days, but for now, everyone's masked up in violation of the law. Like, there's a huge protest going on right now. I've just spent 3 days at the warehouse, and I couldn't get home, like, easily. I had to take a bus instead of the train, and it took me well over an hour to get home. But we got to make sacrifices for freedom here. PRC is trying to scan people's faces and use facial recognition software to record, like, you know, they want to know who's protesting and they want to keep track of us. So, hey, we have to wear these masks. And currently we have legislators who are speaking on behalf of the protesters and saying, you know, we have a fundamental human right to privacy. And what's been done is in violation of our Constitution as well, since the laws that have been made under an emergency rule here aren't, that law hasn't been used in over 50 years. And you know, we have a constitution and rules here, and our chief executive has gone around all that in order to establish this law. Okay, I'm not actually going to do the session with the mask on because how am I going to drink any tea? I'll have to lift it up. So, no, I'm going to take it off in a second. Alright, so, haven't shaved in a while. Been at the warehouse. So, yeah, looking a little scruffy today. What I'm drinking today is this way. There we go. Tieguanyin from Taiwan from 2015. So I haven't had this tea in a little bit, and I'm going to do one long infusion today for a change. I don't normally do that with this tea, but I want to see what I can get from it. It's got lovely chocolatey malt notes, and I bought this farm direct in the mountains of Taiwan several years ago. It's made with Hongxin Tieguanyin, which I didn't know at the time. It's made with the heirloom Tieguanyin cultivar, which isn't common in Anxi nowadays. It's still grown, but not grown to the same extent as stuff now is. Like as far as Qingxin is, I mean, it is widely grown in Taiwan. However, Hongxin. In Hongxin, Tieguanyin is actually Tieguanyin. Okay, so I'm using both this vintage Japanese porcelain cup and this lovely silver cup today, since this tea is pretty smooth. Alrighty. So, gonna let that cool first because I want to get it to 90 Celsius. This tea's lost a lot as far as aromatics. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough. I'm just coming over the flu here. Everyone seems to be getting sick right now, and I was just talking about how I don't get sick that easily, and there you go. I'm sick. Alright, let's let everything cool down, since I want to achieve 90 Celsius in order to brew this tea correctly. What are you guys drinking today? I have a lot more teas of my own that I don't drink on camera, simply because I've separated my business teas from my own personal teas, and I don't have any of my work teas here, really. Most of the stuff here is my own personal stash. So this isn't something I sell, but it is a lovely tea. Nice and wiry, long leaves. Let's put that in and see what the heat does for the leaves. It's a slight aged prune or plummy note to it. So maybe this is just starting to age, just starting to develop age notes. Since it's warm here, stuff ages a little faster, and you'll get those notes quicker than you would other places. Alright, seems relatively cool now, so let's do the first infusion. Since I'm using a lot of leaf, that's a lot, I think, for this tea. I don't know if I can get more than one infusion, but we'll see what happens. Alright, let's let that steep. So yeah, I ran around in the mountains of Taiwan, in the Muzha area, looking for good Tieguanyin. And while I did find a roastier one that I did like, most of the stuff wasn't really to my liking. It just didn't have the flavor that I expected. But at the time, I didn't know about Hongxin Tieguanyin. I was still relatively inexperienced as far as Tieguanyin goes. Well, I drank plenty of the Anxi stuff. There was a lot of stuff from from Taiwan that I hadn't yet encountered. I almost said Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam is a major supplier of Taiwanese style teas since the Taiwanese actually run farms there. Since they can't produce enough in Taiwan to meet demand, both domestically and overseas. So it's estimated that 75% or more of Taiwanese teas aren't actually Taiwanese. What's sold as Taiwanese isn't Taiwanese. Does it matter? Not necessarily. There are farms in Vietnam that produce absolutely top-notch tea, and in Thailand. But it's misrepresentation, and then there are laws that don't need to be followed in Vietnam and Thailand that do need to be followed in Taiwan. So, yeah, it is an issue. And I suppose if it's sold within Taiwan, then there's always a possibility of inspection for pesticides. But, hey. Yeah, it's kind of exploitation of both resources and labor in those countries, since labor is a lot cheaper and they don't have the same laws in Vietnam and Thailand. There are a lot of illegal Vietnamese pickers working in Taiwan, unfortunately, and they are pretty much abused. Like, there was a documentary that came out about it recently, but I haven't seen it yet, and it's in Vietnamese, so I have to try and find a dubbed version. I don't actually speak much Vietnamese at all, so that wouldn't work out. Okay, let's see how this looks. It's getting kind of dark. A bit of osmanthus on the lid. This tea was quite osmanthus dominant when I first got it, but it's not quite as intense now, as you'd expect with all those years of, for the tea to mellow down. I'll have a little bit right now just to see where it is. Okay, looking good. Let's see if you guys can see that without me spilling it. Kind of, not really. I don't want to spill the tea, so I'm not pouring. I'm not tilting the cup too far. So I can detect sweetness already. And some pleasant aromatics. A little bit of malt, but there's a lot more going on. There's sweet, fruity character here. And notes that remind me of Wu Cha. Interestingly, I don't recall those notes from the last time I tried this tea. But I am using a lot more leaf than usual. Still very nice. This was an outstanding tea when I first tried it, and in fact, from this particular producer, it was the only tea that I accepted, which is funny. They're known for their regular rolled Tieguanyin, and I actually went with their Tieguanyin Hongcha, which isn't rolled and isn't as traditional. But I just thought this tea was exceptional. A little bit of peach in the aftertaste. So yeah, it's definitely mellowed down, but it's still very, very pleasant indeed. Let's add just a bit more water. Not that I put much of a dent in the amount in the teapot. There's still plenty of liquid in there. Do that little swirl. Excuse me, I'm still coughing. I just had cough syrup called Pei Pa Kwa. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, but it's a traditional remedy in China and in the Chinese-speaking world. It's based on a variety of different herbs that are used in traditional Chinese medicine. Oh yeah, this is good. This is not. It doesn't taste the way it did the last time I had it. So brewing this way is definitely changing things up some. There is some lychee and osmanthus there, which is lovely. And sweetness with just a little hint of bitterness, but predominantly umami, which is lovely. It's got a lovely full taste. Taiwan does Hongcha really well, and this is no exception. Lovely. Let's top that back up. Whoops. Let's top it up and we'll try the silver next. Curious to see what the silver does for this tea. If it brings out astringency or if it changes the flavor or brings out more aromatics or mutes them. Let's see. Okay, so far more astringent than silver. To the point where I can't detect if it's more aromatic or not because the astringency is just so intense. There's a bit of a perfumey floral note there that I didn't get in the porcelain. But I'm going to give the silver a miss. It's not what I'm looking for right now. Back to porcelain we go. Oh, very calming too. I can feel the chachi setting in. Okay. So much darker now. And this is aged beautifully. Like, I thought it would have dropped off entirely, but there's still loads going on here. We purchased this in early 2016, so I've had it for over 3 years, and yeah, when I first had it, it was incredibly aromatic. Like, there was no question that I was going to get some. Definitely wasn't cheap. We definitely overpaid for this tea, but we did sample a wide variety of teas before that, so there was a bit of a service charge tacked on. Since we've been tasting everything, basically. While I knew we were paying too much, I didn't mind paying a little extra just because of the time we've spent with them and the number of teas we tried. So, considering we only bought 100 grams a piece, it wasn't that expensive considering all the teas we had the chance to taste. Wow, this is really making me cough. It might just be that I'm talking a lot. I haven't been speaking this much for the last several days. I've been busy packing up orders and replying to email and all that. And since I work alone, yeah, I haven't been talking to people really, aside from short WhatsApp calls with the girlfriend and with my mom. So maybe I'm talking too much. Wouldn't be a first. Okay, quite a bit lighter now, so I'll let the rest of it sit in there a little longer this time. Yeah, lots of umami and sweetness, and not as flavorful. So let's push it a little harder and see what we can get from it. Some osmanthus or lychee, and a few other things I can't quite pick out, but let's see what we get after a little more time. This tea's making me sweat too. I've got the air conditioning on, and it's cooling me down, but I'm still sweating. So yeah, it's definitely raising up my raising my core temperature. Okay, let's take a look. The leaves are really pretty now that they've expanded. Again, I'm trying not to spill my my liqueur. I don't know how well you can see that, but they've expanded a fair bit, and I've been very careful about handling this tea since I'm a little OCD about leaf breakage. If anyone's bought tea from me, you know I really go overboard with the bubble wrap in trying to protect tea. Since I'd hate to receive broken tea myself, so I do whatever I can to protect it within reason. You know, I'm not individually packing each leaf in foam or anything, but I do the best I can with without seriously increasing the volume and weight of my packages. So yeah, broken leaf does change the experience to some degree. Tea will infuse out faster, and you might lose some aromatics that will vaporize off, or yeah, you'll lose them to the atmosphere basically if the leaves are broken, since you're exposing surface area. So this is something I try to avoid whenever possible, especially with Hongcha or Hongcha or green tea for that matter. Well, pretty much with anything, even with pu'er, I'm careful to bubble wrap stuff up well, because nobody really likes receiving broken leaf. Well, there are people who do, who like to layer their pots with it if they're brewing oolongs, but I'd rather give you the choice of, if you want to break your stuff up, break it up right before use, right before brewing, I mean, since that's when you'll receive the most aroma. You'll get the most aroma out of the leaf that way. Okay, nice and dark now. Let's top this up. So yeah, this is like a modified grandpa approach. I'm topping up as I go, but I'm using more leaf than you normally would with the grandpa approach. And I do this quite often. Not much malt, but sweet aromatics that I can't distinguish. I can't pick out what's going on. I can definitely feel the sweetness and the umami, and I can tell that there are sweet aromatics there. But this tea's definitely lost something to the ears. Wow, the empty cup smells amazing though. Again, nothing I could really pick out. But very sweet and almost caramel-like, but not quite. There's more going on there. But very pleasant indeed. So yeah, if you do have a Hongcha, you can actually age it. I guess not all Hongcha is going to age well, but this stuff certainly hasn't lost everything that it had, and it has developed some new notes. So it's probably not gonna last forever. I only have 60 or 70 grams left, so yeah, it'll be done in a few years probably. I do have a lot of other tea to drink though, so and it's not that I don't like the tea. you know, I don't have this tea left over from me not drinking it because it's not good. I put it aside because it was so good I didn't want to drink it all up too quickly. And that actually is an issue for me with certain teas. I like them so much that I don't drink them quickly enough, and they start to lose their intensity of flavor and aroma and effect. Although this tea certainly got lots of effect left. I can really feel it. Yep, really light. Not long enough. Definitely not long enough. So, a bit more time. Definitely still dynamic. Every time I pour, it's a little different from the last time. So this is like halfway between Grandpa and Gong Fu Cha. Excuse me. Yeah, I didn't realize I'd be coughing this much when I started shooting this. So this is going to make for an interesting video. You guys get to watch me cough. Yep. Yeah, it's been an interesting time in Hong Kong. The train system's down in a lot of areas, and I can't get to and from work by train now or getting into town. So the only way out is by bus now, or by taking a taxi or driving. But only 5% of people here own cars or vans or motorcycles. So 95% of the population has to rely on public transport. And it's a good thing the protesters aren't mad at the bus companies, because then we'd really be in trouble. I live on an island, not Hong Kong Island, but Lantau Island, which is on the far southwest of Hong Kong. And yeah, there's only one way out, which is by bridge. Without the bridge, we'd be stuck here, which isn't so bad. But yeah, this weekend's protests mean the supermarkets are shut too. There's only a few supermarkets open, and there are people lined up out the door now. So I'm glad I have enough food to tide me over until things settle down again, if they settle down. Yep, very light. So this tea is nearing the end, I think. Still pleasant and lightly aromatic, but it doesn't have that intense complexity anymore, as you'd expect. But you can definitely tell it's not your typical Hongcha. It's definitely made with something, with a different material than normal, and even if I didn't know that, I'd know that there was something going on with this tea, since it's just so different from anything else out there. Okay, so that's it for today. I definitely need to get more of this tea if I get back out to Taiwan, and I'll try not to get ripped off on it, since I'll be buying bulk, hopefully. Alright, take care. Have a great Sunday, or whatever day of the week it is for you, and yeah, happy tea drinking.